Hey everyone, Life Coach Carisa here. Are you starting your days already running on empty, looking at a packed calendar while your mental tank is completely dry? Maybe you finally take a break and you sit on the couch for 20 minutes to just do nothing, but instead of feeling peaceful, your brain starts screaming at you. It starts listing the laundry and the unread emails and the groceries and every single thing that you should be doing instead. Well, today we are diving into why you can't sit still and how to fix it. We have been conditioned to believe that resting is a luxury or a reward that we have to earn. But the truth is that rest is a biological necessity, not a reward. I'm going to show you how to quiet the judgmental inner voice, stop using constant busyness to numb your stress, and reclaim your right to breathe. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about a heavy reality that so many of us are living out every single day, and it's the hidden cost of thinking that your worth equals your output. We juggle so much, demanding careers, aging parents, kids, households, and we do it all while an old inherited script runs 24/7 in the back of our minds. It's that voice that says that if you aren't producing, you aren't valuable. Now, I know this trap inside out because growing up, my parents were constantly busy people. And if they weren't working at the family business, they were working around the house. There was very few times that I saw them rest. I think when they needed rest, it was way too late. And that really left a deep impression on me. To be good, you have to be moving. You have to be accomplishing something. You have to be productive. But what happens when we try to break that cycle? When you finally try to sit for 30 minutes, your inner roommate kicks in with this harsh judgmental voice, right? It turns like this simple break into like this mental courtroom, accusing you of being lazy or disorganized. But here is what I need you to understand. Your brain is a repeat machine. Just because that negative voice pops up doesn't mean that it has any true merit. When we refuse to let ourselves truly rest, we start looking for ways to numb out that exhaustion. And we often start buffering. What is buffering? Buffering is like a temporary patch that we might use to avoid feeling an unpleasant emotion. So for example, a long time, my go-to buffer was overworking. I'd finish like a 10-hour day at the office and then open my laptop the second I got home just to keep my mind too busy that it couldn't hear my own thoughts. And when that didn't work, sometimes I would turn to other hidden habits like overspending on clothes to fix a bad day, or opening a bottle of wine in the evening just take the edge off. And I thought that these things made me more fun and flexible and I was the cool mom, but really they just made me very distracted and very irritated because there was a net negative consequence that came to all of those buffers, right? If I overwork, I'm exhausted. I'm not present for my family. If I overshop, I'm blowing up budgets. If I drink too much wine, I'm affecting my health. I'm paying the price the next day, right? So whether your buffer is a scrolling maybe social media for hours or turning to food, we will use these things because our willpower runs out and we are desperate for a quick hit of relief. But buffering isn't rest. It's truly just hiding. Because science proves that scrolling on your phone isn't a break. When you buffer on social media to escape a stressful day, you spike your dopamine artificially. And the second you put your phone down, your brain chemistry crashes and it leaves you more anxious and mentally depleted than before you even picked it up. So true rest doesn't stimulate your brain. It unloads it. So here's a biological truth. When you deny your body quiet moments of care outside of sleep, you are literally starving your brain. If you deprived yourself of sleep, your body would break down. We get that logically, right? Well, intentional daytime rest is just as vital, but no one's ever talked about it. Because those moments are where you reformat the hard drive of your brain. It pulls your nervous system out of fight or flight panic mode so you can actually access your creativity, your problem-solving skills, and your peace. Because I say this all the time, we are supposed to be human beings, not human doings, right? We're supposed to be. We don't know how to be anymore. And so when you refuse to rest, you aren't just being a hard worker, you're literally starving your brain. Chronic stress floods your system with cortisol, which physically shrinks the areas of your brain responsible for that clear decision making and emotional calm. You aren't losing your mind, you're just running it like on a toxic fuel. So it's like, how do we start shifting this without all that heavy guilt that comes with rest? Well, we aren't going to try to flip your whole life upside down overnight, right? We can start with a small micro boundary or a new micro habit, because your nervous system works like a toggle switch. You're either in survival mode or you're in recovery mode, and your body physically cannot do both at the same time. So let me say that again. You're either in survival mode or in recovery mode. Your body physically cannot do both at the same time. And if you don't intentionally pause during the day to trigger your rest and digest system, your body stays in a state of hidden panic, even if you're just staring at a screen. So this week, I want you to pick up just one 10-minute restorative activity that signals to your brain that you're safe. It could be walking slowly outside, sitting on the grass, doodling, or just practicing some slow breath work, some gentle stretches at your desk. And to make it stick, I use a strategy called habit stacking. So tie that micro rest to something that you already do every day. So for example, like every day, right after I pour my morning coffee, I will sit on the porch for 10 minutes before the rush begins. Or right after I finish my lunch, I will take a slow 10-minute walk outside without my phone. Right? So join those two things together and you will be so much more successful for having it stick. And when you give yourself these small moments of loving support, your brain begins to unwire, called neuroplasticity. And this is awesome for us, right? You'll notice that you have the clear energy to complete your tasks all the way through without all the internal drama, procrastination, friction, mental complaining. So I want you to really think about what could be your first micro habit that you could incorporate 1 day a week to start, and then 2 days a week, and then 3 days a week, right? And just build the momentum. Start small, and you're so much more likely for it to stick. So I want to give you a reflection question for you to maybe think about in your journal this week. Let's start, poking some holes in that old programming, right? So I want you to think about, what are the reoccurring unhelpful thoughts that come up when you try to sit still, right? So what are those unhelpful sentences that come up every time you try to sit down and be still? And what do you notice actually improves with your energy when you do allow yourself to rest? So we want to pull apart the unhelpful thoughts that are keeping you from being able to sit still. And then what improvements do you notice when you actually are able to give yourself that rest? Because, the reality is you don't need a 2-week vacation to save your sanity. There's data out there that shows that just 10 minutes of intentional unplugged white space during your day completely resets your cognitive fatigue, and it breaks the cycle of that cumulative exhaustion before it turns into like a total evening crash, right? Or an afternoon drop in your focus and productivity. So I want you to remember, true productivity isn't about how much you can force yourself to do. It's about having the courage to protect who you are being while you do it, okay? Because the world will always find something else for you to do. But nobody is going to step in and protect your peace for you. That is your job to do. All right, everyone. I hope this will give you a permission that you've been denying yourself to just take a breath and step away from being productive every moment of every hour of every day. You do not have to earn your right to exist by burning yourself out. And if you're ready to look at where a lot of these scripts came from and learn how to replace your buffers with true self-care, grab a copy of my book, Why Am I Like This? It's available in local library branches near me, or you can get your own copy on Amazon. And if you're tired of living a life on autopilot, feeling exhausted, ready to build real, sustainable mindset tools, we should talk. Head over to my website, lifecoachingwithcarisa.com, and book a no-cost clarity call with me today. Let's get you back in alignment with who you truly are. Until then, stay present, stay curious. I'll see you in the next deep dive. Have a beautiful, restful day.